Welcome back to Afternoon Live. Food and Wine recently named our next guest 2024's Best New Chef. She joins us today to share her culinary skills and what she calls Grandma Chic cooking. We welcome Chef Karyn Tomlinson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I love the term Grandma Chic. Can you tell me about what it means in terms of the food, and is it the aesthetic too?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I grew up visiting my grandma, and she just made me feel so loved in the way that she cooked. And she wasn't showing off with her ingredients. She wasn't, she wasn't being pretentious even in the way that she set the table, but it was all intentional. And she was also very efficient with everything that she had. And I think there's something about that that our cooking here at Muriel evokes. So we're working with really, really good ingredients and trying to make them as delicious as possible using really kind of old-fashioned cooking techniques to make people feel special.
I love that, and we can always tell when a dish is made with love like that. So can you tell me about, is this one of our staples here? You've got some lentils to prepare for us.
It is. So I'm actually, don't laugh, I'm actually making some stewed lentils. We've all had bad experiences with lentils, but I love them. And that actually was one of the first dishes we put on the menu at Muriel and has stayed on this whole time. We normally change it all really quickly. But to me, there's something that really good, a really nicely seasoned bowl of lentils just warms the soul. It hits the spot, it's nourishing, there's a lot of protein in it. You can even poach an egg and put that on top, and that adds a little bit of extra protein. And that's something that a lot of our regulars here at the restaurant come in, they just sit at the bar and have a bowl of lentils. So that's what I'm making today.
Well, it's such a satiating dish, and you can really take it anywhere with the flavors.
Exactly. So I'm just kind of showing the base of what we do here at Muriel. I just have some lentils in this pot that have already been just cooked. They're not really seasoned. I'm putting a little bit of butter in with them as well, and some veg stock. And I'm just going to bring that up to a nice simmer and let it kind of thicken. So you can see here, it's just very simple, a few ingredients in there. And then I'm adding some mustard seeds to this. Just a little pinch of mustard seeds. Too much will make it bitter, but it gives it a nice depth of flavor and a little savory note that otherwise would be missing. And just bring that up to a boil. While we're doing that, I'm poaching an egg. And then also I'm preparing a little bit of a cabbage slaw, just a little something fresh to put on top. So I have some shredded cabbage here in a bowl, and I'm just dressing it with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and then adding some fresh cut chives. You could do this with any kind of herb though on top. Doesn't have to be cabbage or chives. You could go crazy with whatever you want. But this is sort of our staple. So I'm gonna let that just macerate and think about itself for a second right here. And in the meantime, we have our lentils, which are starting to simmer.
So simple, but so much flavor in there.
Yes, absolutely. And it really helps if you can use a good stock. You could use a chicken stock, you could use veg stock like I have here, but don't be skimpy on creme fraiche and butter. That really gives it its that makes it feel really luxurious, and it makes it it kind of stays your hunger up a little bit longer too.
Oh, for sure. And tell me about what we're cooking here. The name of your restaurant, was it inspired? There's a connection to Les Mis, I understand.
Yes, yeah. So Muriel is the name of my favorite character in the book, Les Miserables. He's the bishop at the beginning. He's in the musical too. And he's the guy who invites Jean Valjean, the ex-convict, into his home, invites him into a meal. He set the table really nicely like he would for a dignitary, and he shows this man grace and kindness that way that this guy hasn't experienced for a really, really long time, if ever. And in the musical, he gives away his silver candlesticks too. That begins transformation in this man's life. So that story is just really inspiring to me in hospitality. It just shows the power of how a well-set table and thoughtful meal can really turn someone around.
Yeah, what a beautiful inspiration. We have about 30 seconds left to finish this dish off.
All right. So this looks really nice here. These lentils have been simmering. We're just going to spoon it into a grandma bowl over here, an old china bowl. I'm topping it with a little bit of that cabbage slaw. And just to finish, a nice little poached egg.
Oh, look at that. That just looks cozy and homey and perfection. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, and we'll have the recipe on our website, katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.